G'day, it's Tashi the Vampire Fairy here. I do apologise that I haven't done a video blog for quite some time now. It's just that, as everyone seems to have the same excuse and such, I have been quite busy in that, and I've had quite a few issues regarding my PCOS and such, which is the hair growth. Yes. So anywho, what have I been up to in this last 12 months or so? A lot of exciting things have happened, a lot of not so pleasant things either, unfortunately. Where shall I start? Well, let's say start at the start of the year or so, I suppose. The year pushed in as it always does and that, and as it always does and things. But unfortunately, events were cancelled here in my town because of an accident that happened. I won't go into details of that because it's too tragic and such. Then I haven't been to all that many events so far this year, unfortunately, because there hasn't been anything really around that I've been interested in, so there hasn't been all that many opportunities to dress up as such as I always do. And yeah, so not much has happened in the world of events, unfortunately. So hopefully next year that'll all change. I love going to events, I do. I really do. Yeah. And well, there's been a lot of things that haven't been too pleasant this year, unfortunately. Mainly regarding, well, it's actually been 20 years ago, back in June this year. It was 20 years ago when I was physically and mentally abused by a teacher back when I was in primary school, which is also called elementary school for other people around the world. And I was in grade 3, and this teacher just decided to abuse me and such for no apparent reason really, other than the fact that I was a girl and I was fat. Go figure. And it went on for quite a few months and such, and I remember it in every single detail. I do. The tragic event itself, I do. When things got worse for worse, well, I basically didn't want to go to school at all. I would scream and cry, and my parents literally had to drag me there. They did, because they didn't know what was going on. They didn't. So the things that used to happen though, going back then, the things that they used to say to me and do to me and that weren't so pleasant. So if you're a little bit like uneasy on this, just skip this part or so of the video. He used to call me names such as fatty and fatso, and that I was a girl and I should have been only a boy or so. Like, eh? What's up with that? I was thinking at the time and such. He used to also call me some really nasty names like fucktard and idiot, and because I was a girl, that my life isn't going to be just full of shit and such. And he used to physically abuse me too. He used to like hit me over the head with a book and that, and he used to pinch me as well. He used to pinch me a lot. Like if I would be walking past him, he would pinch me on my backside. He would, which is very rude and very wrong. And also, he would never let me, well, do my work that I needed to do for classes. Like if I needed help or so, like for like maths question or so, I would put my hand up as any other child would, for asking for teacher's guidance and such. But if I did that, he would come over and he would slap my hand down and just hit me and saying that, do it yourself, you can do it yourself and that, you don't need help for that, just do it. And if you fail, well, it's your own fault. Like, so, there used to be some more terrible times during it too. After a while, he started to send me off to the principal office for no reason whatsoever. He just wanted to get me out of the class, basically, just get rid of me or so. So I would end up at the principal's office so many times, and the principal was dumbfounded. It was like, what did I do wrong, you were saying? And I was like, I don't know. I don't think I did anything wrong, really, because all I did was sit there and do my work and such. And he just told me to go to the principal's office because I was being naughty or so, even though I wasn't. And it used to get worse. Like, that was just the icing on the cake. That was just not so bad. But then, after about 2 months into the year, it just got worse. It did really, really worse. He used to always, well, still physically abused me and that by hitting me and pushing me and everything under the sun you could think of, really. The only thing that he didn't do was sexual abuse, really, which I'm glad I didn't get that also, other than the pinching, of course. And the way that he used to hit me, though, like, I was covered in bruises all the time, and my family used to ask me how I got all those bruises and such, and I would just lie to them and said, oh, I just was a bit rough playing outside at playtime or so, which was so untrue. It was. And things moved along until about late April, May-ish. That's when all hell seemed to break loose. It did. He managed to abuse me that much over the course of every day and such that I ended up with a heart murmur. I did, and I was very, very ill. I was, like, under all the stress and that I would ask to be excused from the class to go outside just to get some fresh air. And I remember it as clear as anything, as if it was yesterday, that I used to sit out on this, like, garden area where there was a seating area there, and I just couldn't, well, you know how you normally, like, swallow your spit and that just as like a natural occurrence and that? Well, I couldn't do that for hours upon hours and that. And I would be out there for hours. Like, he would just leave me there and such, and would forget about me and such, and wouldn't care. And I could barely breathe properly, and like I said, I was covered in bruises all the time, and the physical abuse was the worst part of it. The mental abuse I could handle, but everything else, no. And then eventually, late May, my parents came to the school because they had like a fete going on or so later that day, and they saw me there outside basically having a panic attack, as they're called, and that. And they asked me what was going on, and I was dead true to them then, and they just literally took me out of the school straight away. They went to the principal's office and had me unenrolled, like they took me out of the school, and I went to a different school then. And that was the end of the abuse and such. But luckily enough, well, I don't think my family could actually take the teacher to court or that because they couldn't afford it, unfortunately. But we did sort of get justice though, because he did get fired and he got sent back to Saudi Arabia. I know, ironically he was a Muslim. I don't have anything against Muslims really, but ironically this guy was actually a Muslim. He was. And now, since I know a lot more about Muslims than that and how they actually treat women, it's understandable of why he did all this stuff. So, yeah. Go figure. Yeah, so that was a rough time in my life and such. But there has been a few more rough times than that, and hence why I'm just carry on like I do each day and such. I don't mean to be all gloomy also. It's just well, I feel like it's time for people to know what's happened in my life and that, or why I'm the way that I am and such, and why I have trust issues and everything like that, etc. So yeah, that was one of the tragic parts of my life. I've had quite a few bullies through my lifetime as well. So, yeah. So that's why I've got this sort of like this tough chick attitude and such, and don't let people in also. That's why, and why I don't really trust people. Like, it's really tough for me to trust people, because I've been lied to and given empty promises to all the time and such, and to be honest, I'm just over it all. I am. For once, I just want things to go pleasant. I do. That's all I want really, and yeah. Anywho, what else have I been doing this year? Not all that much. I went to Mount Bullied for the snow that weekend back in June. Then I went up to Queensland to the Abbey Medieval Festival, and that was quite good. And that's about it so far. So yeah, just to keep this short and that, so yeah.